India has once again called out Pakistan's duplicity on terrorism at the world stage. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar, in his address to the 80th United Nations General Assembly, stressed that no nation should be allowed to harbour and sponsor terrorism while pretending to be a victim of it. Without naming Pakistan directly, his remarks left little doubt about the country he described as an epicenter of global terrorism. The minister's speech highlighted India's decades-long struggle against terrorism emanating from across the border, citing the recent Pahalgam terror attack as the latest example of state-sponsored violence.
On September 27 in New York, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar addressed world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly.
Namaskar from the people of Bharat.
Beginning his address with a simple greeting, Namaskar from the people of Bharat, S. Shankar reminded delegates of the UN Charter's founding principles, stressing that it was meant not only to prevent war but to build peace and protect the dignity of every human being. Jaishankar's words carried weight against the backdrop of the April 2025 Pahalgam attack, where 26 innocent tourists were brutally killed by terrorists trained and armed across the border.
For decades now,
the minister described the killings as another act of cross-border barbarism, stressing that since independence, India has consistently faced a neighbor that has institutionalized terrorism as statecraft.
the most recent example, India has confronted this challenge since independence, having a neighbor that is an epicenter of global terrorism. For decades now, major international terrorist attacks are traced back to that one country. UN's designated lists of terrorists are replete with its nationals. The most recent example of cross-border barbarism was the murder of innocent tourists in Pahalgam in April this year. Major international
India minced no words while calling out the scale of Pakistan's terror industry.
countering terrorism.
He warned that when nations declare terrorism as state policy, when terror camps operate openly, and when terrorists are glorified as heroes, the world cannot afford to stay silent.
Countering terrorism is a particular priority because it synthesizes bigotry, violence, intolerance, and fear. When nations openly declare terrorism a state policy, when terror hubs operate on an industrial scale, when terrorists are publicly glorified, then such actions must be unequivocally condemned. The financing of terrorism must be choked, even as prominent terrorists are sanctioned. Relentless pressure must be applied on the entire terrorism ecosystem. Those who condone nations that sponsor terror will find that it comes back to bite them.
Earlier in the session, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, in his own UNGA address, sought to deflect attention from Pakistan's role in exporting terrorism. He accused India of breaching international law by suspending the Indus Waters Treaty following the Pahalgam attack and reiterated Islamabad's long-standing narrative on Kashmir. He also claimed Pakistan's military had destroyed 7 Indian fighter jets during Operation Sindoor.
If destroyed runways and burnt out hangars look like victory, as the Prime Minister claimed, Pakistan is welcome to enjoy it.
India immediately launched a rebuttal through its right of reply on September 26. First Secretary at India's permanent mission to the UN, Petal Gehlot, dismissed Sharif's statement as absurd theatrics and accused Islamabad of glorifying terrorism while sheltering its perpetrators. She highlighted that Pakistan's claims on Operation Sindoor were a distortion of events, noting that images of burnt-out hangars and destroyed runways at Pakistani air bases exposed the reality of Islamabad's losses.
A picture speaks 1,000 words, and we saw many pictures of terrorists slain in Bahawalpur and Muridke terror complexes by Indian forces during Operation Sindoor. When senior Pakistani military and civilian officials publicly glorify and pay homage to such notorious terrorists, can there be any doubt about the proclivities of this regime? The Prime Minister of Pakistan also advanced a bizarre account of the recent conflict with India. The record on this matter is clear. Till 9th May, Pakistan was threatening more attacks on India. But on 10th May, its military pleaded with us directly for a cessation to the fighting. The intervening event was the destruction caused to multiple Pakistani air bases by Indian forces. The pictures of that damage are, of course, publicly accessible. If destroyed runways and burnt out hangars look like victory, as the Prime Minister claimed, Pakistan is welcome to enjoy it. The truth is that, as in the past, Pakistan is responsible for a terrorist attack on innocent civilians in India. We have exercised the right to defend our people against such actions and have brought the organizers and perpetrators to justice. Glorified terrorism.
Gehlot reminded the UN that Pakistan had long maintained terrorist camps, citing even public acknowledgements by its own ministers, and that it had sheltered Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden while claiming to be a partner in counter-terrorism. She pointed out that at the UN Security Council earlier this year, Islamabad had blocked efforts to hold the resistance front accountable for the Pahalgam killings.
There is no room for any third party in that regard. This is our long-standing national position.
Rejecting Sharif's suggestion of third-party mediation, India reaffirmed that all bilateral issues would only be addressed directly between the two countries.
Will be held accountable.
Gehlot stressed that India would continue to hold both terrorists and their sponsors accountable, making it clear that New Delhi would not be deterred by nuclear blackmail.
Nor will we allow terrorism to be practiced under the cover of a nuclear blackmail.
Dr. Jaishankar's address, together with India's right of reply, reinforced New Delhi's consistent position. Pakistan's long-standing use of terrorism as state policy continues to threaten regional and global security.